You can learn a lot from your body. This body is a holder of wisdom that knows so much more. And if people would get in tune with their body through certain movement, or breathing correctly, we do not breathe correctly. Breathing correctly, focusing on yourself, with your heart, wherever you need to focus on, if you did that, you would learn so much about yourself and how you go about your everyday interaction in the world. I know that sounds very odd, but it is very true.
Welcome to the Quiet Knowing podcast. Today we are joined by Medical Qigong Healer and esoteric aficionado, Natalie Lair. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited to have you on.
Yeah, thank you.
Yay, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So what does the quiet knowing mean to you specifically?
It's like a source intuition that comes through the heart that allows you to speak exactly what needs to be spoken at that moment in order for everything to be clear, communicative, and reassured. Sometimes even confidently spoken, and other times not so confidently spoken, but there's always a learning somewhere in that particular quiet knowing that is revealed maybe later or instantly.
Okay, so
Where do you think that comes from?
yeah, where do you?
I think it comes from different parts for certain people. Some people come from the crown. For me, it comes from the heart and the throat. I get a lot of information when I'm really connected to my heart and throat. Every once in a while, I'll get the crown thing, but usually that one takes me to the ground. Which is awesome in its own way.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to get slammed to the ground.
Yeah. It leads to a lot of crying later.
Where do you think those messages are coming from? Is it something within you or?
It's within me because I'm connected to it. It's like a consciousness field that comes through me, and at that moment it expands out. Okay. That's what it feels like.
Okay.
And then I get the information that is necessary for that particular moment.
Gotcha.
But that's where I think it comes from, or it comes from for me. That's what it feels like.
Okay, cool.
So,
yeah. Sweet.
Could you tell us a little bit about your background? And even you can go back as far as you want, even to when you first started getting into spirituality, or however you want to take it.
Well, there were a lot of mistakes. So so it was a rough beginning, stepping into spiritual. What came naturally in my youth started becoming problematic. Problematic meeting a lot of different personalities that caused new kinds of thought and obstacles for me, where if I just would have listened to myself, I would have had a much simpler and easier spiritual growth periods in my life. But because I got directed in different ways due to society, I made it as difficult as possible for myself. So I did start off with, I would experiment with tarot, and then I would drop it, and then I would try this, and then I'd try that, then I tried the church, and all of it gave me different experiences that lead me to who I am today. So I'm not going to say it all was just big mistakes, but it was just different types of learning techniques. I always knew that I was supposed to be on the spiritual path of some sort, and it was some form of healing. So I started I got thrown into teaching a yoga class by an instructor that got sick and said, "You need to do this today." And it was awful. It was awful.
Oh, no.
It was awful. And then I was like, okay, I need to go get certified. So I decided to get certified, and then that's how it all started. And then I started liking the other part of yoga that was a little more deep rather than just the asanas.
Right.
And that really started opening doors to me. But where we are, the asanas are the power. The other part of yoga that is very vast, people don't like that. Here.
Where we are, meaning Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, yeah.
Meaning
the esoteric value of the spiritual, communicative, the body awareness. It was more like, where's Warrior One going to get you? Nowhere. It's going to give you a communication. Yeah, it's going to really open you up, but then you're going to flow into Warrior Two. Then you're going to do sun salutation. Then you're going to... It was very fitness.
Right.
And I was looking for something more spiritually opening. So I got out. I didn't get out of yoga. I kept on yoga. I did different types and different styles, learned different things, kept going different routes with yoga within that yoga world. And then I started learning about Qigong, and Qigong actually put me in this place where I wanted to be. And then, of course, there's always a huge obstacle. and I came up with some walls with that. And, but I grew from those walls. They were very thick, but I did grow from those walls, and I broke through them. And now I am where I am. And now I'm happy.
Oh, good. Can we go back a little bit to whenever you kind of transitioned from yoga into Qigong? Like, how did that come about?
So, gosh, I think it may have been 2013. I started doing acupuncture with an acupuncturist who is now one of my really good friends. And she said, you will be very good at Qigong. And I decided to take a class with Master Yang at a place called Kripalu. And I was really good at Qigong. and so I continued with that and doing classes and different things. And then she brought the master in from Tibet. And he taught me different forms of yoga, Tibetan form of yoga, and taught me Tibetan form Qigong. And that was it. That was mine. I was all about that. And even though he did not speak English, not a word, I could understand him. And when he would do a lot of expression, like one time he was like, and I was like, yes, I know that's good. So I was like, this is my path. So that's how I knew that this was going to be what I did.
Okay, so for people who don't really know anything about Qigong, can you kind of explain what it is?
So Qigong is kind of difficult to explain because it's about energy movement in a way. So it's about clearing the meridian points so you have a fluid flow moving through the body. And it has a lot to do with earth, metal, wood, water, and ether as, as part of the whole thing. It's about it's very self-reflective. So it's about looking at yourself from each element's essential origin, like what it means. Like wood would be liver. So it's also peace. That is what you should be working with. But liver also holds a lot of wrath. So sometimes when you're working with the movement of liver, in that moment, things start to come up. And they will come up and you'll be very, very angry. And you'll be like, whoa. And this is part of the self-reflection that I was talking about. And sometimes in that anger, you pull away the mask of it, and it's actually not anger. It's actually grief, or it's actually a betrayal. But you come face to face it, so it helps you self-transform and transform into hopefully the betterment of self, which I strive to do. So, yeah.
I was surprised when I first got Qigong from you when we first met. because really wasn't expecting anything. I had received Reiki before from Kindle, you know, but yeah, I really felt a lot. Not only like you're mentioning these things emotionally or whatever coming up, but also physical sensations too, which I was surprised by. Yeah. And I was like, okay, she's legit, you know?
Yeah, I told him to come and see you because I was like, she does Qigong. He's always interested in TCM stuff. So
Yeah, I kind of like dabbled in it, never really practiced or like, you know, intensely studied it or anything, but definitely have always been really interested in it.
It is a vast subject.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
I know this much in a large.
Yeah.
I mean,
I felt so intimidated by it because it's like more than a career, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You have to, there's so much dedication if you want to be, you know, really good at it. But yeah.
And there's so much like involved, like this is connected to this and it's not what you expect. And you're like, wait a minute, what do you mean the small intestines is going to, okay. You know, it's a lot of different, it's a fire element. So, because of the heart being the yin, that's the yang. So it's the opposite. So they need to, it's things like that. You're like, oh, but then it makes sense. When you really start to look at it from that TCM point of view, it all starts to make sense. But you kind of almost have to like break a few programs along the way that, that you've learned in school. I'm like, yeah, because that's, oh, okay. Now that makes sense.
Can you tell us about a time that you followed your intuition even though it didn't make logical sense?
Oh, when did I ever follow my intuition?
Doesn't that happen all the time?
Yeah, but
probably in a hidden way, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but right now I'm like having a difficult time. I randomly built my Qigong website on a whim out of nowhere. I just decided this is what I was just going to do it. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do healing practices. And the only place I know where to heal at is this place in Broken Arrow, and I'm going to try it there. I'm going to do it. Yeah. And it had been some time since I had been certified. One day I was like, I'm going to do it. And I did it, and I went for it, and it worked out. And I was like, oh my gosh, yay. So that was a very positive moment. I followed my intuition. Then there has been intuitions that I did not follow, and they didn't go well. So,
were you ever exposed to, you know, these interests and practices you've been doing, like Qigong and yoga, at like a really young age?
No.
Really?
No.
Yeah. I guess they weren't, you know, as mainstream back then.
At all. That was not around.
Yeah.
I believe that a lot of the Qigong masters started coming here in the 70s.
Okay.
When I was a kid.
Yeah.
So they were probably, and honestly, the internet has really allowed for that to really be something explorative and explode. Or it would have been very limited. Like I would have had to been living in Florida or California or Arizona. In Oklahoma, I don't think they would have. I think there's like maybe 3 Qigong schools here.
Yeah.
And I think he teaches away from here, the one that I know of. But I would have never been exposed without the internet, which is lucky.
Yeah. You spend a lot of time on the internet.
Not anymore. I don't have time for it.
Yeah.
I haven't had time for it in a long time. So
It's addicting. Of course, all the bad stuff on the internet,
Yeah.
but also all of the like interesting information. Because
Yeah.
I'd spend, especially when I was like a teenager,
I was gonna say it used to be
spend
better. Now it's
all
just
day looking up all this esoteric stuff and like
Yes.
history and
When you were a teenager, yes.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of watered down, compromised. You have to really dig. Now when I
Lots
look
of
for
misinformation.
stuff,
Yeah.
now when I look for stuff, I'm like, this is talking about a video game. And I'm like, what is happening? So I can't, because they've like kind of meshed it into.
Right. Yeah.
So I remember there was a gentleman, I'm not going to say his name. There was a gentleman who was very, very knowledgeable, but I did not realize that his knowledge came from video games. And the esoteric stuff that he was actually out teaching people at this conference. I was like, wait, no. It was coming from a video game. What he had learned from a video game. And people were eating this up, and I was like, oh my gosh, they don't know any better. This is how things get messed up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, he was very knowledgeable about that. And it was very interesting, but it was very fantastical and out there. And I was like, wait a minute, this is not right. Because I know this story.
Yeah.
This is not right. And I was like, wait a minute, it's a video game. Oh my. And then it's like, it was a esoteric conference on Buddhism.
Yeah.
And I was like, you'd have thought that they would have researched him a little bit better, but
yeah, in the age of AI, I feel like it's all gonna get harder to.
Oh yeah, it's already been happening.
yeah.
Just gotta dust off those books and read.
Right?
If you can
the
find
old-fashioned
them.
way.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
difficult to find now, or some of them are like thousands of dollars.
I know. Yeah, I know.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. There's this book that I read that I give a lot of credit to kind of liberating me from all the traditional Western spirituality and everything. And I've tried to find a copy of it online, but like you said, it's like thousands of dollars.
Yep.
Did you own it or?
I had like a PDF version that I read.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There are some books that are so awesome that I'm not sure you can get anymore. There was a French lady, and this, I believe I've told you about her. She did an experiment. She went through Tibet dressed like a man. She would put ghee all over her face, put dust, so you couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
And this was at the turn of the century, meaning 1900s. She acted like a peasant, and then she decided to do an experiment where she would feed a thought form, and she would constantly be a meditation. She would feed it, and it started manifesting and have form to the point where people started seeing it. And then it started having its own desires. And she talked about that, and she had to go see this monk in the mountain to help her because he was like, you have to get rid of it. And she wrote about it. She didn't like talking about it. She did write the book about it. She actually would get really salty and cranky when asked about it, like in conferences and stuff.
Yeah.
But she did get rid of the thought, and the whole point was careful of what you think and what you go into constant repetition and cycles. So that book is incredible.
Yeah.
I have never again been able to find it. And makes me sad. It would be such a great book for people to read now, especially with the repetition of thoughts that keep happening. So.
Yeah. When you were at that conference with the video game guy, you mentioned that it was about Buddhism.
Yeah.
Was that something you were really interested in do you align yourself with Buddhism or any other kind of belief systems?
I tend to go towards Buddhist philosophy more.
Yeah.
I also like the Hindu, but I'm spiritual because I also
Yeah.
like some of the things in the Christian.
Right. Yeah.
But then I also like I like definitely spiritual because because I will some of the things that have to do I hope no one throws stones at me. Some of the Islamic things I find very interesting too.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily resonate with all of it, but I do
Sure.
think I find it interesting. I also find other like I'll be like, oh, that's it's out of Africa. That is so cool. I see how it's valid. It has
Yeah.
value. So
You're
spiritual.
open. Yeah, yeah. Same.
Yeah.
I think it's good and important to be open because in the end, like, we all want the same things,
Yeah.
and I feel like people use religion as just another divisive tool.
Yeah.
And,
There's only one way. My way.
right.
And it's like,
Yeah.
not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stories are like really similar.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities.
Uh-huh. Who is Master Yang Yang?
So Master Yang Yang is out of New York. He has written a lot of books about the medical Qigong and how I believe he works out. It's been a while. He worked out of a hospital there.
Really?
And talked about how the benefits of doing Qigong, how his patients were able to, some of them were able to heal themselves, not all of them.
Yeah, yeah.
And
is this stuff like, scientifically studied
yes,
and confirmed and everything?
It was, I believe it's evidential Qigong.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's been studied. It really, it's almost like turning on your immune system again. So the cells that need to go so you can I think you rejuvenate every so many days. It turns on so everything stays in fluid flow.
Gotcha.
Constant.
Yeah.
Like the microcosmic orbit, small universe, same thing. Just constantly revolving, evolving. So you have longevity. The whole point is longevity, transformation, all the practices. They all have different practices. So I studied under lots of different masters. There's lots of them out there. Some I loved a little more than others. Rinpoche is my favorite. He taught me the most, not even speaking a lick of English. Just being him and doing meditation with him and him just showing the Tibetan forms and his breath work taught me so much. And then I started to learn also on my own, but I also have learned that my body teaches me a lot. My own consciousness teaches me a lot too. Not that I don't have teachers, but that you can learn a lot from your body. This body is a holder of wisdom that knows so much more. And if people would get in tune with their body through certain movement, or breathing correctly, we do not breathe correctly. Breathing correctly, focusing on yourself, at your heart, wherever you need to focus on. Different monks did different things. Some of them would focus on liver, some of them would focus on kidneys and all of that. If you did that, you would learn so much about yourself and how you go about your everyday interaction in the world. I know that sounds very odd, but it is very true. When you learn that, oh gosh, I really have a lot more knowledge, but it's actually coming from within me rather than out here. And everything out here is distracting me from me. So I have to.
Yeah, I always find that after I do the medical Qigong with you, like I just have a lot of realizations.
Yeah.
Kind of for the next few days afterwards.
That's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Finding that balance, coming to that inner awareness, being in that space so that you can have like really good revelations of everything that you want to know about yourself or sometimes others or situations.
Or the universe.
The universe, yeah.
So what are some common misconceptions that people have about esoteric practices?
They think it's a religion. That is the most common. They think it's religion. And they think it's a way of life. You can make it a way of life, but it is a philosophy. It is something to get you to think for yourself. It is a way to be consciously aware, but it is not a program. And people think it's a program or a religion, and it's not. A lot of people think it's evil because it is not in their common house or they've never heard of it before, because it tells you to trust yourself and to believe in yourself rather than to believe in Christ or Allah. It's not really telling you to do that. It's telling you that you are all that you need. You have all that you need inside of you. But I believe Christ said that too. So all the wisdom, all the love inside of you will teach you and help you through life, right? So it's a philosophy, not a religion.
How do you feel like people can reconnect with that? Like people who are so far out of alignment that they, like a serial killer, for example.
Yeah.
Let's take it to the extreme.
Yeah.
How can someone like that realign with what you're talking about?
That one I don't know, because that would be going to a bodhisattva to be taught wisdom, because that is serious. To me, a serial killer would be a lot of inner child trauma that needs to...
Let's dial it to an average person then.
Yeah.
Because most people watching won't be serial killers, at least I hope. How can the average person...
who feels disconnected
disconnected with it
get back into alignment?
Breath work is a good place because it brings you back to you. The focus is you. You're learning how to breathe for yourself. It just brings that energy back to you that could be outside of you, scattered.
How do you know you're doing that right? There's so many different practices out there, and maybe some of them don't resonate as well or benefit as much to some people.
There's so many different types of breath work that you can try. The breath of fire is one that always brings the focus back onto yourself. There's a trick to that one. There's different forms of breath of fire. But when you do breath of fire, not only does it shake the Kundalini energy at the base of the spine and starts to pull it up. When you hold the breath in, it pulls it up all the way to here. And it can go all the way up to the third eye. That's why it's called skull shining breath also. It is a really good one for people that have massive anxiety or that have, they get their emotions go out of whack. Or they need to find balance. Breath of fire. Some people, breath of fire is too much, so alternating nostril breathing. But the breath holds is what helps you find your focus. And the focus is you. It's not on Johnny down the road having pizza. And you have to bring it back to you, right? Alternating nostril breathing helps me find the balance between yin and yang. It really does. It works for me, but breath of fire works for me too. But alternating nostril breathing does something different for me. It calms down my parasympathetic nervous system to a point where I'm really in deep connection with me. I love it. I love it. I love it. Diaphragmatic breathing is a great one too. It calms down the nervous system to the point where if you do it correctly, Okay. And that's expanding that belly, getting it all as one, and exhaling longer. It'll actually start to remove the knots in your body. Like they'll start to untangle because the tension goes out.
Yeah.
So it's just different breaths for different people, for different functions, for different things that they may need.
Yeah. That makes me want to tell everybody, like, maybe you tried breath work before, but you didn't like it. It didn't do anything for you. Try a different one.
Try a different one.
Find one that works for you.
Bhastrika pranayama is the juggernaut of all of them. And then Tuma breathing. So that really brings everything into alignment. It is a much harder breath work, but it works also. It makes you really kind of, it pulls it into my head a lot. So then I have to pull it back down.
Yeah.
So that it is really good. It just, there's so many trying different kinds, and you can try different types in a specific period of time to find which one works the best for you. Because I remember when we did different ones, when I lived in the ashram, I would love certain ones and I'd be like, oh God, we're going to do this one again. I really hate this one. And it was the one I needed the most.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, it was something I was like, I really don't want to do this one. The one that was like crazy energetic breathing, I was like, yeah, I love it. And it was like the one the master was like, make you crazy. Go sit in corner. Do breath of fire. Okay. because I was like too much energy all the time.
Yeah. Are you feeling that today because of the, solar activity and everything that's going on?
Today I'm not feeling it, but it doesn't mean I won't feel it later.
I felt it.
She's,
I'm good now, but yeah, that's why I texted you because I was like,
yeah, one hit earlier and it was like, and I was like, oh, this is a fun one. And then it went, whoop, and it subsided. But I'm expecting for a few more to hit.
Yeah. We had an earthquake last night.
I know, but I didn't feel it.
I didn't feel it either. I slept through.
I slept so good last night.
I did too.
Yeah, I didn't wake up at all, which is amazing. Yeah.
Which is so nice.
Yeah, it's a gift. Truly.
Yes.
Yeah. In your experience, what would you say the difference is between knowledge and wisdom?
Ooh, that's a fun one. Knowledge is something that, well, they both are. Wisdom.
They overlap a little bit.
I'm sorry?
Maybe they overlap a little bit.
They do. Knowledge is something like I acquired. This might be an opinion. Knowledge is something I acquired from a book, like someone else's wisdom that's being taught to me. Something I've read in a book. Oh, that's their experience, their knowledge. All right, great. But the wisdom is something that I've learned myself from my experience or learned from their knowledge of their experience as I turn it around and make it my own from an experience I have. And like, but this and this is valid too. And this is also that wisdom I've learned that way too, if that makes
like you integrate the
you integrate
knowledge.
So the wisdom, also interesting enough, there is a lot of wisdom that you learn from movement, Qigong movement of self-awareness, and you may have not had that experience, but your body remembers and it teaches you that wisdom from within. So when you're doing certain movements of balance,
it's funny because
it comes in.
The other day you did that Qigong movement. You didn't even know it was a Qigong movement, and I was like, oh, and the lady was just showing me that, but like he just knew it.
You just know it, yeah.
Yeah.
Your body, you're remembering.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting. Yeah. Sorry.
It's kind of interesting because one of the things that I feel, this is my opinion again, that the people that I'm interacting with right now at this present time in my life at some time were some kind of monk with me or were in some type of practice, religious practice or something along those lines. They were in my life and they have some knowledge of this. So they're attracted to some of the Qigong stuff that I'm doing. And then they're like, yes, I remember. And I want to do this because it's very nurturing, very healthy, they're teaching themselves, that's the whole, in my opinion, that's the whole point.
Yeah. We'll have like a closed caption thing that comes up that says, "This is Natalie's opinion."
Yeah, I know.
This is just Natalie's opinion.
Yeah, I know what you mean. With like,
I feel like we have a lot of experiences like that, not just in like movement, but I feel like all the time we're like, oh yeah, we just knew, like we just started doing this thing, and then we kind of like read about it as a spiritual practice afterwards, and we're like, oh, I've been doing that for years, and I just kind of figured it out. Yeah. Like the way you healed and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
Like the inner child kind of work stuff.
That was very powerful for me. I don't know if you've ever done any of that stuff, which maybe you could say aligns more with the psychological side of things, but I think psychology and spirituality have a lot of overlap as well. But yeah.
There is a particular practice. I don't want to say what it is because I don't want people to go do it. Because it is, because it will put you in the inner child. It's a Qigong practice. It's a movement. And yes, it pulls up all the inner child trauma and you will be in it and you've got to be ready for what comes up. And it will put you face to face with the traumatic experience that you don't need to experience again, but you do need to observe and name it and get around it and let it go. There are specific Qigong movements and practices that put you into those spaces. And sometimes the master, out of his wisdom, will put you in that space. I have only put one person in that space to get into that particular inner child wound. And I won't do that again, but there are practices that Qigong does, and it's for transformative understanding of self-awareness. It is to really know yourself through and through and to always know who you are in every lifetime. That sounds beautiful. It sounds amazing. It sucks. It is rough. It is tough, and it can last days, weeks, months. For some people, years, because they don't want to let go. They're clinging. But once you come to that surrender of, okay, I learned from this, it will propel you into your next beautifully. And you will feel so much. You'll feel so much more. You will feel more. If you don't want to feel, don't do it. You will feel so much more from everything and everyone and the whole world. But once again, you have to be ready for it. And usually a master will just know. And he will decide, or she will decide, okay, I'm going to do this. I did make the mistake of doing that for someone because they were begging me, and I learned. I won't do that again. So, but yes. And you may come to just like the knowingness of putting yourself in that from just remembering that you've done it before.
Yeah.
And you may move in a certain way, and then all of a sudden, oh crap, I'm in the inner child. It's coming up. I'm going to heal this once for all. I'm ready. But if you're not ready,
yeah,
then it's just a circle.
Yep.
Yeah. Rather than being in the circle of the snake, in that evolutionary snake eating its tail, and it's very positive. You're in the middle, finding the balance. You stay along the outside, doing the same revolution over and over. You don't want to do that. Yeah. My opinion.
We will have T-shirts with that on.
I know. In my opinion.
How do you personally discern between mental chatter and intuition?
Well, that's always fun. Mental chatter is exactly that. A lot of ideas coming at you at the same time, chattering out, and sometimes when you do specific breath work or specific type of like mantra, if it stops, you know it's from outside of you. If it's like being almost beaming at you, but when it's intuition, it comes from the heart. You're like, oh, I'm doing this. Yeah, it's just like, okay, I'm doing this. This is the way. I got it. This is the truth. I know that this is right. Mental chatter tends to sometimes make you second guess, triple guess, and you go around in a repetition and in a circle. Oh, there's a lot going on. But once again, if you do the breath work, or if you do a mantra, or if you do a specific prayer that you may like, you may find that it will suffice and you will get to the root of what's really been trying to come to you. Because there is a lot of chatter going on, because, I mean, yeah. So you kind of have to like weed out what is chatter and what is the rose-colored glasses and what's actually truth. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is true. I feel it. It's coming from me. Now I know I'm going to act on that. I'm going to respond to this. Yeah. And sometimes you can meet people that are in the state of mental chatter. And those people, you'll be like, wow, I'm so tired. I just can't. I'm so tired. I feel like I've been on the tilt-a-whirl with you. And it's not their fault. It's because there's just a lot.
Yeah.
Has discerning that always been something that you've been good at, or is it a skill that you can develop?
I developed that with Qigong.
Okay.
So in TCM, we believe that comes from the spleen, overactive spleen. So I learned how to manage that by doing Qigong. It really helped me tremendously. So I was able to determine what was mental chatter. And there are days where that mental chatter, well, I realize it's not coming from me. It's coming from outside of me. Yeah. And it's like, oh my, could you people stop? And it's not people, it's whatever.
For me, it's the Black Eyed Peas.
Oh, yeah.
I've had that song stuck in my head.
Really?
Today, yeah.
I get certain songs stuck in my head, too.
I don't have one stuck in my head right now, which is rare. So
yeah, right.
Don't mention one.
Yeah, I'm not in doubt. I had this one. Well, you have to be so rude. Oh my gosh. I had that one stuck in my head.
Here we go. Installed in the brain now.
Last week I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to sing this for days.
I feel like whenever that song came out, that was stuck in my head all the time.
It's a cute song. It's great, but sometimes it's just...
What sort of practices do you feel like help connect you with that inner compass?
So there is it is a great practice, but it's such a basic practice that a lot of people are like, really? The golden ball. When I do the golden ball technique, and there's a few different ways of doing it. When I do the whole series of the golden balls, I was taught it by different masters, because I've noticed that each master has his own method of golden ball. I get balanced and I become in harmony with myself, and it really helps ground me, and it helps me in ways that I can't even. That's when all the ideas and a lot of things start to happen. And I also feel very much at peace. So the golden ball is my favorite. But there are other practices that help. I really love this one that's called carrying. It's the peasant carrying the moon. Such a weird thing to say, but it is actually quite powerful for me. It helps me really get focused. And it's not a like strenuous thing, but it is really effective for me. Also bear swimming through water. And that one has a lot to do with the lung practice. So it really, and water together. It works wonders for me because it helps me find, I don't know, that, and it is, right now it's the time, it's autumn, so metal. I don't know how to explain this. It helps you find focus within yourself, but right through here. There is a lot that the lungs store about yourself, about emotions, about your body's physiology. Now, this is from a TCM perspective. And when I do the metal practices, it really expands me and gets me in a very awesome state of awareness. It is, it's almost like something you need to experience.
Yeah.
And I think you guys both experienced a little bit of that when I did that one practice with you. It is very expansive and centering at the same time. So it's also very healing. So those are my favorite. The golden ball will bring you back. So you will do the kind of expansive stuff with the universe, and then you bring yourself back in with the golden ball. It'll help you balance your yin and yang. So,
What is a book, quote, or teaching that has deeply influenced you?
oh my gosh. You're going to think this is so goofy. The thing is, I don't remember the title of the book. The book was translated from Russian into English. Very hard to get this book. So it was these Russian men that were philosophers, esoteric. They just went and they went to Tibet and they talked to the masters, and they were talking to all the people there because they were looking for specific spiritual information about the origins of Earth dynamics. They wanted to know about themselves and their origins. And talking to different Tibetan masters, because they knew it was more than what it was being presented to them. They thought that a lot of the archaeology and everything was wrong. So this book is from the 40s. Okay. So it talks about humanity's origins from Mars and Saturn. And that book actually kind of, when I was reading it, I actually started remembering a lot of things. It triggered my remembrance and things in me, and it actually really transformed me. It also talked about how telepathic humanity was and how something happened and that was not, they could not explain. And it also talked about a magnetic pole shift that was partial that happened. And this was all in Tibet. It was in all Tibetan manuscripts, and it was very old manuscripts. And these men from Russia, who will not speak about the book anymore, and some of them have passed, they all uncovered it, and it was years and years. They wrote 2 books. I've never was able to get the second book, unfortunately. And I would have listened to it in Russian. Then I would have tried to figure it out. But because it was that amazing to me. But which, this is going to sound crazy, the person that kind of made me get that book was this young boy named Boris, who was the boy from Mars. He remembered his life on Mars and he would talk about it. And he talked about this book, how he just what it was like his grandfather had it. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to find it. I'll see see if this kid's legit.
Where did you meet him?
I didn't meet him.
Oh, okay.
I saw him. It was a recording on from Carrie Cassidy. She went to Russia.
Oh, okay.
I know, scary Cassidy. She went to Russia, and it was just a random thing that I ran into, and I felt like I was supposed to listen to it.
Yeah.
And after that book changed me, and I was like, I don't know whatever happened to the boy. I don't know anything.
It reminds me a lot of the Ami book, but yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest. That book changed so much for me. Because I was like, oh no, this is true. Oh, this is true. This is when you're like, oh yes, this is so true. Wait a minute, I remember this. What am I saying? It was like that.
I love this question that we ask everyone at the end, which is, if your soul could talk directly to the audience right now, what would it say?
Nobody knows more about you being you than you do. Always trust yourself, believe in yourself, no matter what. You always know the right path to go. Even if you stumble a bit, get back on it because you know what's best for you. Nobody knows what's best for you. And if someone starts steering you a different way, go back to the middle path because that's the place you will find the best answers for yourself.
Okay, so how can people connect with you outside of the podcast, via social media, or your website?
You know, Qigong is actually my passion, so always come visit me at NatyL Qigong Healing.com. I think that you'll find something that's there for you.
Thanks for joining us, Natalie. It was a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Learn
It was
about
a
your
pleasure.
journey and all the wisdom that you had to share with everybody. So thanks for joining us on the Quiet Knowing podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.